One day I was typing away in the office when I thought to myself, I need an adventure. So I quit my job, grew some facial hair, and started planning the ultimate South African road trip. Fast forward a few weeks and I packed my 4x4 Thomas, my wife Jill, and set off for 9 months of adventure. Here's how it went. Started up Thomas and headed north out of Durban for the open road. Checked out a raffia monument in Umtsinzini and hiked through some amazing forests. St Lucia was insane. Rode horses on the beach, found chameleons at night, checked out hippos in the estuary, then went snorkeling at Cape Vital with Rick. It was super windy, but Jill was still super stoked. Met up with a bunch of trail runners. We're not very good at running, so we walked a lot and spent most of our time with the support car. Kayaked on Lake St Lucia, saw a bunch of hippos and got buzzed by a Zambezi shark. Decided that cycling was way safer. Whale watching was amazing, even though it was a bit cold. Took a walk to Back Cave and chased a ghost crab on the beach. Watched some crocodiles on the slipway, then discovered that monkeys ate our tent. You're not allowed punching them though. Tlhatlui Mfolozi is the oldest game reserve in Africa. I brought my binoculars, then we got stuck behind this guy. In False Bay, we found ammonite fossils and checked out the Ingwe Trail. Our guide Nathan knew everything about the bush. We thought Mkuzi would be all about game drives. Turns out it's all about this ancient fig forest. Some of these trees are over 900 years old. Did some birding, then set up our camp at reception to escape the wind. This guy again! In Sodwana, Jacques taught me how to scuba dive in the pool. Couldn't dive in the ocean because of a massive storm, but the sunsets on the beach were amazing. In Mabibi, the roads turned to sand. Thomas loves sand roads. Checked out Lake Sabaya and found the biggest thorn in the world.
That's a sword.
I took a dip in the sea at Black Rock and Jill got to drive Thomas for a bit. Something else is eating our tent. The beach at Mabibi is spectacular, but there are loads of steps back up the dune. In Cozy Bay, we snorkeled the aquarium in the estuary and found the world's smallest mangrove forest. It was too windy to cook outside, so I made tuna salad sandwiches instead. Took a boat cruise through the lake system. We sat in front to get the best view. I skimmed my feet in the water, which felt awesome. Checked out a 700-year-old fishing technique and did some more snorkeling among the mangroves. This crab was really cool. Wait, is that hippo dung? Back on the boat. Couldn't resist a quick nip over the border into Mozambique. Checked out an awesome view site, and yes, we snorkeled. Stayed in the lap of luxury, but I'm still not sure we were supposed to be there. Back to South Africa, back to the bush. Went on a birding walk in Ndumo and learned how to call an arena trogon. The Inyala loved our campsite. I tried to feed one, but ended up getting super sandy instead. Went tiger fishing with Shayamanzi at Jasini Dam. This kid caught a beast that broke the net and was gone forever. I caught nothing, so I snoozed instead. Etala Game Reserve is full of incredible view sites. This is why you should never drive through puddles in the bush. Went hiking and stumbled upon a fresh leopard kill in the Ngoche Mountains. Decided to get the heck out of there. Went for one last hike, but I forgot my shoes. At Fugitives Drift Lodge, we signed up for a battlefields tour with the rat trays. Checked out St Lucia and Rorke's Drift. It hailed, which made it more amazing. So much incredible history here. Next stop, Barberton. Met up with Peter and Venda from Dusty Tracks and explored the Geo Trail. We wore hairnets with our helmets and plunged into the richest gold mine in the world. It was really dark down there. We immediately contracted gold fever and tried our hand at panning. Peter's super good. Us, not so much. Got given these cool radios for our 4x4 trek through the Mkonjwa Mountains. Drove through an abandoned city, but I was obsessed with finding gold. In Sabi, we were safely out of gold country. There are dozens of waterfalls here. Checked out as many as we could. Sometimes it was rainy and the paths were super slippery. Other times it was sunny, but the water was still cold. Jill got wet, we found this happy dog, and then we had lunch at the Sabi Brewing Company. I thought I'd be too old to toboggan. Turns out I'm not, and neither is Jill. Checked out a massive gun, then went swimming in the Mac pools. The Fani Buerta Trail was one of our bucket list items. Hiked through the forest, drank mountain water, and added a stone to the cairn.
Got him.
It was amazing, but we got lost a bunch of times and were super stoked when it was over. In Pilgrim's Rest, we dressed for the 50s, the 1850s, then visited a creepy ghost house. At Graskop, we peeked through God's window, eyed out the 3 rondavels, and explored even more waterfalls. Decided to run the Jock of the Bushveld Trail. Why do we keep thinking we can run? Try to follow the path but got lost again. In Hazy View we said hello to an elephant and ziplined the Skyway trails. The Kruger National Park was unbelievable. Did an open back game drive with elephant herd safaris. Saw some elephants, but I was more stoked with the grey-headed kingfisher we found. These hyenas hung out with us a bit. Our campsite is just as wild as the bush. Crossed the Tropic of Capricorn, nothing happened. The days got intensely hot, so we swam a lot, while these guys huddled for shade. This is Nelson. Nelson showed us around the Fundudzi section of the African Ivory Route. We greeted the lake, drove through a sacred forest, then visited the Chachengo potholes. I cooled off while Jill got a fish pedicure. These friendly locals gave us some fruit from their yard, and we ate dinner at the village tavern. Further down the African Ivory Route, we went bushwalking with Edwin and Richard. They taught us all about the bushveld. Turns out elephant dung is a great place to look if you're thirsty. Problem is, there's usually elephants around. New province, new adventures. Golden Gate blew us away. Decided to hike the Woodhouse Trail. Got really steep in places, but the views were magnificent. Got lost again. Unbelievable. Finally found our way to the top. Couldn't stick around as a storm was approaching, and before long, it was hailing on us. So stoked to be at the bottom again. Horses raided our tent, so I gave them some carrots. Had a quick picnic in Clarence, then hit the road again. In Hogsback, I found a bath with a view. Jill stuck her feet over the edge, and I cheated at the labyrinth. Found some epic waterfalls, except this one. This one was lame. Then Jill got tired, so we hit the road again. Pitched our tent for the 100th time in the Mountain Zebra National Park, then went game driving. That evening was spectacular. Saw our first Cape Mountain zebra, a really chilled out hartebeest, and discovered that ground squirrels are the best. Drove numerous passes through the Swartberg Mountains and finally arrived in Cape Town. Did some touristy stuff, then I surfed at a nudist beach. Jogged along Sea Point and checked out some incredible beaches. Colt Bay was pretty fun, particularly the seals. Saw one of the best sunsets ever. Heard about some bioluminescent plankton in the area, so made a mission to check that out. Highlight of the trip so far. Found some friends to surf with and got barreled at the hook. Challenged a professional trail runner to a race up Table Mountain. I tried to cheat, but she won anyway.
What took you so long?
Took a guided walk through Kirsten Bosch Gardens and almost lost my lunch to a spurfowl. Visited Cape Point National Park. It was ridiculously windy. Everyone was taking cover. On the west coast, we learned about sand culture as well as how to hunt and court ladies. The West Coast National Park was something else. We liked everything about it. Visited a pixie garden in Jacobs Bay, a fossil park near Lungabarn, then shot a bullseye at Tali Tali.
Oh my goodness!
Learned how oysters are grown in Saldanha Bay. Tried a few ourselves. Not really my thing. Cape Columbine is a great place to hike along the coast. We made shadow puppets, I ate some salt off a rock. Wow! And we found loads of shells on the beach. Paternoster had some beautiful beaches, and kayaking with penguins was fantastic. In Veldrift, we took a ride on a riverboat cruise with Captain Tolly, checked out the SA Fisheries Museum, and tried some bokums at Bokumlaan. At Elandsbaai, we checked out some sand rock art, and I surfed, and surfed, and surfed, and surfed. Found dusky dolphins in Lambert's Bay, and said goodnight to the sun at Doornbaai. I looked for waves again, but there were just too many seals around, so we headed to the Northern Cape instead. Had to let down the tires, then drove the most incredible coastal road imaginable. Passed through many farm gates and found a washed up whale on the beach. It was intensely hot, so Jill cooled off while I tried to make friends with the seal. Eventually, we had to say goodbye and head back down south. Stopped in at Clan William to try out a variety of Rooibos at the Rooibos Tea House. Learned about sustainable living at the Kreistement farm in Piquet Boerberg. Then fed some lambs and Vleedam. Jill wanted to keep them, but I distracted her with some wine at the Swartberg winery. In Hermanus, we walked the whale trail. In Onrus, we ate boerewors rolls. In Gansbaai, we joined the Dyer Island cruises for an ocean safari. Seals make the worst noises. In Legalis, we touched the southernmost tip of Africa, but I found a place even more south, so I went there instead. The garden route was stunning. Had an amazing day in the Gouwkamer Nature Reserve, culminating in this sunset at Sedgefield. In the Diepvalle Forest, we searched for the last of the Knysna elephants. Thought I found signs of it, but it turned out to be a fallen tree. Didn't find any elephants, so we drank some tea instead and stumbled upon this little view site in the Outeniqua Mountains. Berg Bay was a great surf stop, while Nature's Valley was all about hiking. Found an epic view site, then hit the road for the Eastern Cape. Found Elvis and Storms River, then explored the Titsakama section of the Garden Route National Park. The stairs were steep, the bridge was wobbly, but we found some amazing views at the lookout point. In Cape St. Francis, we checked out a famous surf spot and surfed some epic beach breaks. We hiked a bit, I poked a shark with a stick, and the foghorn kept interrupting me.
Do this.
Go around there. The weather closed in and the charts predicted swell, so we packed our bags for J-Bay. Everybody scored waves, except this guy who wrecked his board. We had to stop for pies. Jill loves pies. I love pies. Tried looking for surf in Morgan Bay, but the conditions just weren't right. Tried to do some work, but it was impossible with all this going on. Explored Double Mouth and scratched the beach for 400-year-old carnelian beads and Ming pottery. Our stash was okay, but hers was better. Did some kung fu on the beach at Car Mouth while waiting for the pond to ferry us across the river. Hiked our way through the wild coast. There were a lot of cows. Tried to blow this conch, found a large colony of Cape vultures near Umsakaba, and finally, we're back home in Durban. This road trip has been the greatest adventure of our entire lives. So to see more of what we got up to, check out the Ultimate South African Road Trip playlist on our YouTube channel. And to find out exactly how you can do exactly what we did, check out our blog, strayalongtheway.com. For us, this is just the beginning. So subscribe to follow us for more, and we hope to see you on the road. Ciao.